Hi everyone, my name's Charlotte, as you know. Thank you. Have you been to my talks before? Anybody here been to my talks? Yes, there's a few people. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I know you can be doing lots of other things on a Friday night. I want to talk to you a little bit just about why I'm doing this talk. There's a couple of reasons why. Firstly is that at the beginning of lockdown I did some work with a lady with Parkinson's, and it got me really interested in that particular condition. And I always have the attitude that it can be cured, you know, it can be resolved. I always have a positive attitude, and I started to do some research, and I noticed, because I knew that Dr. Terry Wiles had reversed her multiple sclerosis, and did a great TED talk of her talking about it entitled Minding Your Mitochondria. So I knew that her neurodegenerative problem had been resolved, and so I looked it up, and I noticed that there was a doctor out in America who was specialising in this. We also have one over here called Dr. Sarah Myhill, and they specialise in supporting and resolving Parkinson's symptoms and neurodegenerative symptoms generally. Dr. Perlmutter, I actually bought a couple of his books, which I found really interesting, and I then went on to YouTube, and I noticed that Colin Potter had followed that protocol and resolved all of his symptoms. He was symptom free. Okay, so what I'm going to deliver to you is that protocol basically, and the science as well, that the scientific studies that have come out since and have basically supported what Dr. Perlmutter has been saying for years. So here you go, and I hope you enjoy it. And also, if you find anything interesting on here, we can discuss it at the end. I'm also very happy to send you over a copy of the PowerPoint if you find that useful. Okay? Oh, and the evening has been sponsored by Willie's Apple Cider Vinegar, who very generously give us all a bottle each. Oh, I've got to turn my clicker on first. Right, here we go. Okay, so I've just really given you an intro and look at the strategies and potential causes and the evidence around Parkinson's. So, as I said, it's a neurodegenerative progressive disorder which affects the nerve cells in part of the brain, and it also can lead on to, as we all know, dementia. So it's not a great outcome, and people are getting it younger and younger, unfortunately. It's quite a worrying thing. When I looked up the statistics, I was actually quite shocked at how many people and at what ages were starting to get Parkinson's, something that was probably quite rare maybe a few decades ago. It's just been building and it's getting worse. So I'm really just, what I'm doing is I'm investigating, and we're discussing and we're exploring what are the potential causes, and these have been sort of documented in studies, okay? So it's the second most common neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's disease, and lifetime risk of being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease is 2.7%, and that's equivalent to 1 in every 37 people being diagnosed at some point in their lifetime. And unfortunately that is growing, so that could get potentially worse as time goes on if we don't nip this in the bud. Don't want to be the doctor of doom here, but it's doubled in the past 25 years. So if you look at that, if you go forward to another 25 years, it could double again. So currently, I believe we have 900,000 people in the UK with Parkinson's, but it could be more since that was last quoted. So it's an increase of over 100% since 2000. So I'd say that's quite a concern. Although they haven't given one very specific main full cause, there are a few causes that have shown up in studies that have been directly related to Parkinson's. And of course our environment is getting more and more toxic, unfortunately. And we're dealing with a lot of environmental toxins, and that is definitely a main contributory factor. It's all around us. It's in our diet. It's in our water, in our air, in lots of things, even our medications. Some of our medications can cause side effects. And research is now beginning to make the connection between metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, the gut dysbiosis connection, and the environmental factors, which all affect the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria are the little power packs in every single cell in your body, and they're what produce our energy for us. And mitochondria gets damaged by certain things, which I'm going to talk through. But mitochondria is particularly of dense amount, like more mitochondria in your heart and in your liver. So often, if you get tired, it can sometimes be that your liver is a little bit compromised, and it could be the mitochondria needs a little bit of a boost. So I'm going to talk about that. You see, after being the doctor of doom and gloom, what I'm here to really share with you is that there is a way to manage for positive health outcomes, and I've seen it, and I've not just Colin Potter, but I've looked it up, and there are other people that have followed the protocol and they have resolved their symptoms. And I've also noticed that when they've fallen off that protocol, sometimes the shakes come back, or a lot of the rigidity comes back. So and also they've been able to come off the medications as well. So we know that there are ways of managing it positively. Be sure of that. So as I said, gut health is a big key factor, and obviously that is caused a lot by diet and environmental factors. And metabolic syndrome, it's an umbrella term for a constellation of issues, things like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I've just explained what mitochondria is, and environmental factors. EMF means electromagnetic frequencies, because they're being upped all the time. We've got smart meters, we've got sleeping with Wi-Fi, we've got 5G, with all kinds of things. Yeah, they all affect us. We are electromagnetic beings, believe it or not. Yeah, when you think about the heart, it relies on the electrical impulse to work. And you think about the myelin sheaths, then they're carrying electrical signals across. So, we are affected by EMF. Just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean to say it doesn't affect you. So this is in nature.com, which is a peer-reviewed study journal. Yeah, it's a journal. And they have now linked it to leaky gut. And leaky gut can lead to nutrient malabsorption, autoimmune diseases, inflammation, all sorts of problems, and that's just the beginnings of it. And unfortunately, probably nearly all of us have some kind of level of leaky gut. It's more common than you think. A lot of people have leaky gut. It's just because of our modern diet. We're not eating the things that we were designed to eat, that we evolved on, and that our metabolisms were designed to eat. So there are some key signs really that you have gut dysbiosis. Some of them could be that your immune system is compromised, like you get colds all the time, or you always really run down, sore throat, sort of thing. Or you could have skin issues, or you could have autoimmune problems. Lots of different things that lead to just generally inflammatory. They've even made links between diabetes and having an imbalance of the microbiome, the gut microbiome, and that's in studies as well, by the way. That's not speculation, that is actually a fact. So these are some of just the tip of the iceberg. I don't want to bore you all with mountains of information, but these are just some of the things that are connected to gut dysbiosis, leaky gut. And as you can see, a lot of people have things like IBS. Have you noticed? And if you're someone that watches TV, a lot of the adverts are geared towards people's gut health. Have you noticed that? Yeah? It is becoming too common. Too common. Even polycystic ovary syndrome, and obviously the cancers. Dementia because we make chemicals for our brain in the gut. And yeah, I could go on. So you know, if you want to really bring in some gut repair, this is really great maintenance, because it's not always better prevention rather than cure. Yeah, better prevention rather than cure, because we're all at risk of getting something if we don't really get a handle on our diets. And I'm a big fan of fermented foods. I love them. I think they're really great. And all traditional cultures all had some kind of fermented foods in their culture, in their diets, a few centuries ago. If you look at the Japanese and the Taiwanese and the Chinese, they had things like kimchi. You look at the Eastern Europeans, and the Russians, they had sauerkraut. And then you know, in the Polish, you've got things like the Bulgarians. I believe there's a strain of Acidophilus named after the Bulgaria. So all of these things are, and kombucha as well, from places like China and Japan. They're all coming from somewhere very ancient, an ancient culture, and they're all experiencing a lot of how can I say, they're getting a lot of attention as being superstars at the moment. You know, they're kind of celebrity status at the moment. We've all heard of kefir and kombucha, right? Yes. So, obviously, I'm going to mention apple cider vinegar. Firstly, because it is a fermented food. It's fermented apples, and it's one of the key things that you can bring into your diet very, very easily. It's really great. You can have a little capful of it in water just before a meal, and it helps to balance your blood sugar levels and aid digestion. And you can also have it in the morning on an empty stomach, and it kick-starts the system. It's got lots and lots and lots of benefits. These are just a few, but I've heard good things about it for weight loss. I've heard good things about it for helping people who've got gut problems generally. And also diabetes. It's great for people with diabetes. Now, okay, we don't all have diabetes, but a lot of people, we're heading that way. We've got insulin resistance, or we could be heading towards insulin resistance and not even be aware of it, as we do. You know, as we get older, our pancreases just say, I've had enough of this. All this carbohydrates, all this sugar. I've had enough. I'm gonna retire for a bit. So that can happen, and we may not even be. You know, a lot of diabetes and insulin resistance haven't even been diagnosed yet. So they reckon there's more of it. It's more prevalent than what we actually think. And it's got lots of amazing qualities. It's actually anti-inflammatory. It's got some really great acids in it that are anti-inflammatory. Prebiotics are the food that feed your probiotics. So they're the things you want to feed when if you want to kind of really cultivate your gut health and your microbiome, then you want to feed it good things to keep your friendly bacteria really happy and healthy, and then they can propagate and they can proliferate and they can, you know, divide and multiply, and you know, they're part of your immune system, so they're to support you and fight for you. So you've got to feed them and look after them, and you know, do good things for them. And you know, it's called non-digestible fibre, and friendly bacteria just really like it. They love it, and they'll munch on it. And this is why plants are so good. Plant fibre is really great. It feeds the friendly, and I don't mean the kind of stuff they put in those synthetic functional foods you see on the TV that's supposed to lower your cholesterol. Anyone that's been to my talks will know my opinions about that. You can actually get much more of that you know, plant fibre from plant sterols just from eating plants. So that is a huge con, might I add. And it's cheaper as well to do that, and it's better for you as well. What more can I say? So these kinds of prebiotics, they just create a good vibe, a good environment. Sea vegetables are really great. Your friendly bacteria love them, but they're also very good at grabbing hold of heavy metals and dragging them out the body. They're natural chelators. The great thing about sea vegetables is that particularly these ones, is that the brown rags, they possess minerals that we don't find anywhere else on the planet, on the ground, on land vegetables. These are unique to the sea, and they're called microminerals, and they're very important as part of the human diet. We need those microminerals, you know. They're great for the mitochondria love seaweed. So if you want energy, you want to improve your gut, your thyroid loves seaweed as well because it has a good source of iodine, and hence, that's great for energy. Asparagus, chicory, Jerusalem artichokes. I've been growing some Jerusalem artichokes actually, they're great. But you do get fed up with them after a while if you've got a ton of them in your garden. Sweet potatoes, plantain, they can be good. Leeks, onions, garlics, and even apple pectin can be good. I personally like stewed apples, I think they're great. So foods that, the thing about it is that your friendly bacteria are sharing space with unfriendly pathogens. And what they're doing is that they're fighting for the parking spaces in your gut. And if you eat a lot of processed foods, flours in particular, refined carbohydrates and sugar, even bad oils, they can all feed those pathogens, and then you'll give rise to pathogenic activity, and then your gut flora haven't got any more parking spaces to sit themselves in, and they just kind of fade away, they don't get nourished. So you've really got to give your friendly bacteria the love and not keep feeding those pathogens. And that's where sometimes I think that's where the cravings, it's not really you craving something, it's the pathogens going, give me more of that lovely cake or biscuit or whatever it is that you've eaten, And sugar's very, very addictive anyway, highly addictive. It's not good. Lectins that can cause leaky gut, which is basically tight junctions in the gut, they get opened up and they let out all the good nutrients and all the toxins go flying around in your bloodstream, hence gives rise to problems. Things like raw tomatoes and raw potatoes, not that many people eat raw potatoes, not very nice. Even unfermented soybeans and artificial sweeteners can cause problems, but particular unfermented grains are a big problem. And what I mean by that is if you just buy a loaf of bread in the supermarket and it's not a sourdough, it's not fermented properly. And the fibre, the bran in the grain, is very, very rich in anti-nutrients, because the grain, if you think about any seed or any seed in essence wants to grow into a plant, that's its main goal in life, and it doesn't want to be eaten by you, so it's got all these anti-nutrients in it to protect it, these toxic anti-nutrients, and these are called phytic acid and lectins. And phytic acid blocks calcium, magnesium, copper, iron, zinc in the body, so they rob you of nutrients. That's in the bran. This is why things like Weetabix and bran flakes are not great. Why wholemeal bread is not great. And so they do that, and then you've got the lectins. They're actually spikes, and they kind of permeate your gut and create all these openings in your gut, and then all the toxins just start flowing around into your bloodstream. So it's not nice. It's not nice. So a healthy gut is the root of good health, many people would say. Especially dementia, Parkinson's and MS benefit from a healthy gut, and you can see improvements from doing a gut repair protocol. And these are studies that have come out recently, but there have been doctors that have been saying this for many decades. People like Dr. Perlmutter and Dr. Sarah Myhill. Dr. Sarah Myhill is a British doctor, and she specialises in neurodegenerative problems and mitochondrial problems. So anyone's interested in that, I'd recommend going onto her website. She's really, really good. I think her website is drmyhill.co.uk. Dr. Myhill. But it could be at the end of this talk on the slides. Yes. So it's connected to a lot of major things here, as you can see. So I do mention sugar. It's hard not to in every talk. Sure, Dr. Ridge must be fed up with it, but I'm going to push it. I'm going to press my thing about sugar. It is not good stuff. And it basically, the bottom line is it poisons your mitochondria, and it can cause mitochondrial dysfunction. So sugar is addictive, and it's very, very toxic. It's acidic, and it's been associated with many, many problems. Now, I haven't put them all on here, but if you go to Nancy Appleton's website, she's got 146 reasons. I believe it's updated, so it could even be more than 146 by now. It could be 150 for all I know. Nancy Appleton will tell you exactly what sugar does, and it upsets the mineral relationships in the body. So because it's so acidic, your body will never work against you. It will always do its very best for you. So in its desperation to rebalance the acid alkaline balance, it will draw minerals off your bones. Okay, so it's very, very acidic, and it also suppresses your immune system for up to 4 hours. And artificial sweeteners, unfortunately, are not the answer. No. Firstly, they still stimulate the sweet receptors in your body. So you can still get diabetes from taking artificial sweeteners. But a lot of them have been found in journals that they do increase health risks, such as cancer, heart attacks, and Alzheimer's and things like that. So it's best to simply go to the root and address the attachment, the addiction, and get that resolved. Don't just try and find a replacement. And you can get natural sweetness, of course. I'm not saying don't. The sweet taste is important in the whole, circle of life. But yes, it's important not to try and replace sugar with something like this. It's not good for us. So let's go back to bread. Modern bread is not the way it used to be made. Time used to be spent making bread. They used to ferment it properly, slow ferment it. I think, everybody know Holt White's Bakery? Yeah, they pretty much, they take on the process, the traditional process, and they ferment things properly. I believe they use traditional flours as well, homegrown flours, which is really important. A lot of problems with the modern breads is that they're using vegetable oils and soya flour. Soya flour is a toxin to the thyroid, and it's also an estrogen mimic. So men should definitely not be touching soya of any like that unless it's fermented, and it's hidden in lots of processed breads to bulk it out because it's cheap. Vegetable oils are inflammatory and toxic, and sugar as well. It just prolongs the shelf life, and they also use Canadian, really, and eventually it just turns into wallpaper paste, and it just lines your gut, lines your intestines, and stops all the nutrients from coming in and out and the toxins getting out. So what more can I say about it, really? If you want to eat bread, then that's the best. I call that transitionary, because really, to resolve if you did have Parkinson's, you wouldn't be eating any bread at all for a bit, quite frankly, for quite some time. Really, quite frankly. But if you just have a concern, then that's the way to go. That's transitionary, definitely. So as I said before, the phytic acid, the lectins, there's all sorts of problems with grains generally. And some people work better with grains than others. I find for myself, as a blood type O, my ancestors were hunter-gatherers and they didn't eat grains, really. Blood type A's tend to be a little bit better on it. It all depends, perhaps where your ancestry came from. But my ancestors, I feel instinctively, I never feel that great when I eat grains, or that many grains, especially flours in particular. I love grains like anybody else, I love barley and porridge and all kinds of stuff, and sourdough breads, but yeah, I have to say, I don't feel wonderful on them. I don't feel like Superwoman when I eat them, so they're clearly not for me. And yeah, they can cause problems for a lot of people, hence why we've got such a big problem. I think we all recognise that that label, perhaps, who that might be. But this company is using two different types of sugar, at least, caramelised sugar and granulated sugar, and soya flour. They're using palm oil and rapeseed oil. I'm not a big fan of rapeseed oil. It's got a toxin in it which attacks your central nervous system, and it's been shown to lead to Alzheimer's. So this is one of the biggest selling breads on the market, and that's because they're really great at advertising, and they're cheap. But at what cost? At what cost do we eat cheap food? Yeah, because it will cost you bigger in the future, I can assure you. And even gluten-free bread can be really awful. This is a kind of big seller. And it's got even worse, it's got even more chemicals in it to try and turn it into some kind of synthetic substitute bread. Now, there are better alternatives. You can get better alternatives if you really want it, and I'll go through that with you, don't worry too much. But at least if you go to Holt Whites, you know you're just getting flour, water, and some sourdough. Not a lot else in it. They're pretty clean, you know. But that is, I mean, some of those ingredients, I couldn't even tell you what they are. Hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. Yeah? It's a shame, you know. And the thing about maize, which is corn, is that nearly all maize these days is genetically modified. Especially if it's not organic. And that's top of the list. So you don't really know what's in that, you know. And there's an awful lot of sugar to make it really addictive. So, you know, this is a pretty simple one. You can get this in Waitrose. And, yeah, I tend to eat this one. It's pretty simple. If you want to go cold turkey on the bread, that's the way to go with that. You can toast that. I've had cheese on toast with that. It's nice. Does the job. Yep. So, fats and oils. It's really important that fats and oils be addressed, as I usually do. Polyunsaturated fats are not heart healthy. It has come out in plenty of studies now. It is well known, and yet the food industry is still pushing them as being healthy. Margarines are not healthy. They are toxic. The reason being is that seed oils, which tend to be omega-6s, a combination of omega-6 and omega-3, they're very sensitive to heat, light and oxygen. So if you buy something like that, it's already toxic before you even heat it, because it's already been exposed to the light and to air. And the problem is that omega-6 and omega-3, which generally tend to be in seed oils, omega-3 will be completely destroyed by heat, light and oxygen, but omega-6 will hang on but in a damaged and oxidized form. So its molecular chain, because it's open at both ends, the light and the oxygen and the heat get in and corrupt the chains, and they twist round and become so corrupted that the body doesn't recognize them. They don't actually recognize them as a real food, and they attack the body. They're very, very highly inflammatory. And I'd say that because they're so prevalent in our diet, and you go out to a restaurant and you go to a takeaway, they're cooking on this stuff, and everyone is getting, you know, do you know that heart attacks are the biggest global killer now, I believe? I think it's probably the biggest. And I think that this is one of the biggest, this and sugar, because it's prevalent. You know, they've gone around to all these different countries and said, don't cook in that pork fat, don't cook in that duck fat you've been cooking for millennia in, or don't eat ghee, you've been cooking that for millennia. Suddenly it causes a heart attack when there's been no heart attacks in that country. Now they're starting to see heart attacks in places like China, where they never had them, you know, or Japan, you know, because they're swapping their traditional fats, their traditional stable fats, for these Western unstable fats. If we viewed fats from the perspective of whether they're stable or unstable, we'd have an entirely different relationship to them. But these are critical if you want to, you know, take inflammatory components out of your diet, you know, and live longer, and you know, prevent lots of potential issues down the line, is to really get a hold of the kinds of fats that you're cooking in. Even your mitochondria loves butter. And, you know, people have been eating been eating butter for centuries. And your mitochondria has been enjoying it for centuries. But we love butter, and the brain loves butter. The heart loves butter. And, or should I say saturated fats. There's never been a study that's ever connected butter or saturated fat to heart disease, ever. It was a hypothesis made up in the 1950s by Dr. Ansel Keys, and it's never ever been substantiated with any scientific evidence, ever. Okay, so butter, very, very rich in vitamins A, D, E and K. And it's really important for your bone health and your heart health. All the things that you need are in butter. I'm a big butter fan. If you don't eat dairy because you're dairy intolerant, butter is just a fat. There's pretty much no lactose in it, so most people find they can tolerate it. Or you can try goat's butter. If you're vegan, that's another. Try coconut oil instead. Obviously, we know eat more greens. We've all heard that message, and it's true. Yes, eat more greens. Why not? But certain ones, they should really be organic. Particularly carrots and lettuces, they are super highly sprayed. Lettuces can be sprayed up to 26 times with an agrochemical, a pesticide called lindane, which has been associated with breast cancer. Carrots are sprayed heavily because there is a carrot fly that the farmers are competing against, and every time they come up with a stronger chemical, the carrot fly gets bigger and stronger and comes back to fight it. And the problem is that you can go, yeah, well, I'll peel my carrots. The problem is that the beta carotene is literally just under the surface of the skin. So if you peel your carrot, you're taking away a lot of the healthy beta carotene that you want. So you're better off just getting organic carrots and scrubbing them and eating them as they are with the skin on. That's what I do, and honestly, they're not that much more expensive. If at all, you can actually get organic carrots in Lidl. That's me giving Lidl a bit of a plug there. But these DDTs that they've now find, you know, they're everywhere and not good. They're classified as carcinogenic, and cancers are going up and up and up. So we really need to start being a bit more vigilant about what we're doing. We're very lucky here in Enfield. We've got Holt White. We've got the farm. What's it called? 40 Hall Farm. Yes. Capel Manor.
I'm just going to say the Enfield Vegetable Company.
Yes, there you go. We've got a lot here. It's really great. You've got fantastic stuff. You're really lucky in Enfield. You really are. You've got so many good things. So these are the things that I would say. Not everything 100% has to be organic, because it can end up just being really expensive. But I say, just if you say, okay, my carrots and my lettuce need to be organic, then you know you can be a little bit more liberal with other things. But I think if you have health problems, then try to make things like that, and potatoes, root vegetables in particular that are sitting in the ground, and leafy greens like chard. You can get all that stuff at the farm shop. They taste better, more nutritious, and you don't have to sit them in apple cider vinegar and water for 3 hours. So yeah, but particularly grass-fed meat in particular is better if it's free-range grass-fed organic, or bread in particular. They've found a lot of pesticides in the bran. So on top of all those issues with processed bread, you've got all these pesticides that are found in the bran, as well as all the other natural toxins. So you've got a whole cocktail of toxins here that we never even think about. You think about how clever the adverts are, kind of imbuing kind of healthful, wholesome kind of idea of you know what it is to eat lots of whole grains. No, high residues of pesticides are found in chocolate bars. Hence why maybe think about, if you want to eat chocolate, go for raw chocolate, go for organic chocolate. This is another study. Eating more magnesium each day keeps dementia at bay. Okay, and that can be found in leafy vegetables, but you have to eat a lot of them. And do eat a lot of them. There's nothing wrong with eating a lot of them. You're having breakfast, lunch and dinner, you know. I like to have spinach for breakfast with asparagus and a poached egg, and then for lunch I have some steamed chard, and then for, you know, and just keep carrying it through, and have as many green vegetables as I can, and have the colour, have the whole, you know, the whole rainbow, have some carrots, have whatever you can. But this study showed that people that have taken magnesium, or people that are low in magnesium, have serious brain shrinkage, but people that take magnesium have less age-related brain shrinkage. So they've done some studies here, and anyone that wants to check that study out, you can have. I'll send you my PowerPoint, and you can check it out. You're very welcome. But you can get magnesium in nuts, in almonds. Almonds are pretty good for magnesium. Personally, I prefer nuts soaked overnight in some warm water and a little bit of salt, and they come out really nice and soft, and you activate the magnesium in them. So, yes, it's better like that. Certain things. This is a protocol that Dr. Terry Wiles used for her multiple sclerosis, and this is a protocol that Dr. Perlmutter recommends for Parkinson's. All the neurodegenerative diseases actually really benefit from this kind of a diet, quite frankly. And if you stick to it and you give it your commitment, then you will see results. You will see results. It takes some time, but if you watch the interview with Colin Potter, and he talks about his progress and what he did, then it really does give you a little bit of positive boost. You know, it gives you confidence that if you just carry on, you get there in the end. So B complex. The B vitamins nourish your nervous system, and a lot of us lives are a bit stressful, and we get depleted in B vitamins really easily. And the problem is that the more stressed you are, the more B vitamins you use up, and then the more B vitamins you need, and it's a kind of vicious cycle. B vitamins are so important, and you'd be surprised how so many of us are depleted in B vitamins just because our lifestyles are just so stressful. Extraordinary. I try to take as many sources of B vitamins as I can. Yeast flakes. Have anyone heard of deactivated yeast flakes? Deactivated. You can get them in any health food store, any supermarket. They're really cheap, about £3 for a big pot of them, rich in B vitamins. You can sprinkle them in all your food and you won't even notice they're there. Seaweed contains B vitamins as well, and you can get it in all sorts of stuff, like fermented foods naturally rich in B vitamins. Iodine, which you get in seaweed and some fish, but mainly seaweed, very important for your mitochondria and for your thyroid. Fish oils feed your brain, they're anti-inflammatory, they must be good quality. Please don't buy fish oils from the chain health store, H&B. Their fish oils tend to be in see-through capsules and see-through pots, and they sit them in the window in the sun. They're oxidized. That's not a good quality fish oil. Go for cold pressed oily fish from a reputable company. Yeah, like Wiley's are a good one. I think that Solgar do a wild Alaskan salmon you can get with astaxanthin, really good, very, very anti-inflammatory. Viridian do a really good one, they do a lovely trout oil. And there are a lot of companies that do some really good ones. You might have to go to a proper health food store for that. Sorry, Holland, H&B. CoQ10, selenium. So selenium is an antioxidant. It's said to be anti-cancerous, with protectors against cancer, and it's very, very protective against oxidation. And CoQ10 is depleted because statins use the same pathway as CoQ10. So it's depleted by statins. So statins can lead to things, other problems, because of this depletion in CoQ10. And vitamin D. Vitamin D, most of us in the Northern Hemisphere are low in vitamin D around this time of the year. We need vitamin D top-ups, 4,000 IUs at least.
Sad, is it?
Yes, you can get sad. A lot of people can get. That's right. Yeah, exactly. You need vitamin D. Everybody needs vitamin D. We all need vitamin D, and if a lot of diabetics have been found to be very low in vitamin D. There's a connection between gut and low vitamin D. So yeah, boost your vitamin D levels up. Even depression can be improved with high levels of vitamin D. It's been proven apparently. There you go. Vitamin D is preventative of dementia. There you go. That is a study. Now, you might think, oh dear, this sounds like a lot of supplements I've got to take, or I've got to spend a lot of money. It's just about shifting your priorities. Look at where you do spend your money, how you spend your money. Maybe some things you buy you don't really need, or you don't really want, or aren't really serving you, Maybe switch your energy company. Whatever it is that's draining your finances, because at the end of finally at the end point is, it is you who are important, and your health. There's No one more important than you. You know, you're worth it. You are worth the best food, the best supplements. You're looking after yourself in that way. So folate and B12. So B vitamins again have been linked to dementia. And it's partly due because our diet is depleted in minerals, it's depleted in vitamins and minerals. Partly because we're eating things like grains that are blocking, you know, and things that haven't been fermented properly. And we're not eating as many fermented foods as we used to. We're living very stressful lifestyles, especially in London. So it's a combination of things. But that is another study. And yeah, you know, B complex, I prefer to take Bs as a complex. They all work together synergistically, and your nervous system will thank you for it. So here you go. I've actually taken some of that Neurolactin. I'm taking that at the moment, and I feel fantastic on it. It's so good. I feel really good on it. It's so good. And I use the yeast flakes as well. They're brilliant in things like scrambled eggs and omelettes and quiches. Lovely, really nice. You can mix them into sauces. You can just blend them into all sorts of things.
They have a taste.
They have a very slightly cheesy taste to some vegans, but for me, because I eat cheese, that's nothing in comparison. So, vegans use it as a cheese replacement, as a kind of something to flavour their food. There's not always a lot of options for flavoursome substitutes. Yeah, that kind of thing, yeah. But actually, it really does. I've got friends who just sprinkle it on top of their meal. They have like a bowl of kind of like steamed barley with some seaweed fronds and some greens on top, and then drizzle some olive oil on top, and then a little tablespoon of the yeast flakes, and their meal is ready to eat. That's how they eat it, and it can really add flavour to the meal. And it's a pot like that, £3.50. You know, it's really, really cheap. Honestly, B vitamins abundant. So you need the B12 in particular. You need to help your myelin sheaths. And the demyelination, where your myelin sheaths start to lose all of its fat, is obviously in multiple sclerosis, which is another neurodegenerative problem. But we need good quality fat to build it. With fish oils, we need these B vitamins. We need B12 in particular. And you know, if you're not eating animal products, then you need to be supplementing it for sure. And yeah, a lot of people can end up with nerve problems, nerve injuries. B vitamins are really great at nourishing the. Yeah, no, sorry.
It says on the telly.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I like the taste of it.
Okay, all right. So Chinese mushrooms. Chinese mushrooms are so amazing. They're a species in their own right. They're not even a plant. They're amazing. They communicate with each other. They share. I can't remember the percentage. A large percent of their DNA with us. I think it might be at least 40%. And they're adaptogenic. Adaptogenic means that they adapt to our body's needs. They work with us. So they work with you, and they all have special qualities. So for example, chaga is really good at repairing the gut, and reishi is anti-inflammatory, and maitake, I think, is the one that's really good for balancing blood sugar levels. And lion's mane, cordyceps is really great for energy, if you want to go into the gym and improve your energy levels, cordyceps is the one. If you're going on a long trek, cordyceps is the one. But if you want to boost your cognitive powers, lion's mane. Lion's mane's where it's at. And I'm taking that at the moment, it's really good. And yes, to get a good lion's mane supplement could really help, really, just to improve cognition. You know, if you ever get that thing where you run up the stairs to get something, you get to the top of the stairs, you go, what did I go up here for? Or you go into another room to get something, you go, what did I come here for? We all have that, right? We all have that moment, and I have that moment. I think, oh my God, early dementia. But I'm taking lion's mane, so hopefully I'll be all right. Apparently it stimulates brain cell growth, and can protect people who've had damage caused by dementia. So it's people that are at risk or have got early signs of it, or any concerns. You know, if you've got maybe it's in the family or something, or you just want to boost your cognitive abilities. Get some lion's mane in. The village Whole Food store sells them. Yeah, in 40 Hall.
And what about supplements? Can you buy a supplement?
Yes, you can buy. You can either buy that as a kind of a bag in a powder form and just put it in your. I make a kind of like a latte with mushroom powders in warm coconut milk or goat's milk, and then put a little bit of honey, because I'm naughty, into it, and some ashwagandha, and I make my own kind of like superfood kind of latte. Who needs coffee when you've got that, you know?
When
it's
you
great.
buy it in powder form in a bag though, I mean, presumably you can't tell whether it's pure or whether it's been mixed with other stuff or anything.
Well, you need to check that. Yeah. No, that's important. You don't want something that's been, you've got to get a good reputable company. Yeah, but Jill can help you with that. I am taking the tablets at the moment, but I also do have mushrooms in powder forms. But there are some reputable companies. Yes, for sure. So yes, so that's good. I'm a big fan of eggs. Having them for breakfast is a great thing to do. Good source of protein. You've got a few B vitamins in there as well, which we've just talked about for your nervous system. So if you had some scrambled eggs or an omelette with some yeast flakes in, you've got a powerhouse B vitamin bursting meal there, haven't you? You know? So that's a great way to start the day, quite frankly. And I put some sea greens in it as well, and away I go. Nourishes your nervous system, keeps you going. Okay, so heavy metals that have been seen to be one of the contributory factors to things like Alzheimer's, which is well known, and Parkinson's. Heavy metals do get stored in the organs, and they can come from traffic outside, Teflon pans. Teflon, probably going to sue me now. Baking foil. Even vaccines have a little bit of aluminium in them to stimulate the immune system. A little bit of heavy metal, so that can store in the organs. So you've got to be really mindful about. You don't just take them willy-nilly. You don't need everything all the time. You know, just think about it. Antiperspirants as well. Did I just click? Oops, sorry. Just popped back there. Excuse me, I don't know what's happened there.
Go back.
Go back. Oh, sorry. I was pressing the wrong thing.
Yeah, keep going.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen all my talk now. Right, okay. Antiperspirants. Antiperspirants have got aluminium in them. To block perspiration. You can get natural deodorants. You can get them. There's lots and lots of them out there. You can buy them in health food stores. You can buy them in TK Maxx, even in the home department, whatever, in the food department. Antiperspirants, think about it. Important, because they're going right there into your lymphs.
What is it about microwaves?
I'm going to talk about it. Don't worry. You can buy non-Teflon based green pans very cheaply in the home department in old TK in Enfield Town. I've seen them really cheap, £15 for a really good quality green pan. Yeah, Teflon's not good.
So
Non-stick.
it's a green pan.
They're called green pans. But they're not actually physically green.
Yeah, but what are they made of compared to the Teflon?
Ceramics.
Sorry?
Ceramic.
Ceramic, oh, right.
Yeah, or an iron pan. I've got an iron pan. I sometimes cook a bolognese in. Yes, I got that as well. Got really cheap. Yeah, so think about your pans, what you're cooking in. Very important. So you think about your fats and you think about the pans you're cooking in, and you know sometimes some little changes can make a big difference over time. Air pollution, I'm sure you've heard the stories about the little girl who died because she was affected by all the pollution, the traffic where she lived. It's accumulative, isn't it? You know, we're kind of storing it up, and it's not nice. It's not nice. It's not great if you live on a high road in particular. There's an article there by The Guardian, The Invisible Killer, pollution. It's not great. They have done studies on it, and apparently toxic air is killing more people than tobacco smoking. So there you go. That's their findings in the European Heart Journal. Here we go, microwaves. Microwaves, don't we love them? They're fast and they're convenient, and they completely destroy all the nutrients in your food. And yeah, they cause structural, functional and immunological changes in the body. Because they're radiation, you're radiating your food, and that is not good. Our ancestors didn't do it, why should we? Yes. You often see a lot of mothers warming up their little bottles of milk in the microwave, and then they wonder why their children have got leukemia. And it's not that rare anymore either. Childhood cancer. I hear a lot of it, unfortunately.
I do wonder, if that is so bad for us, why did they allow them to be supplied and made?
You can say that about so many things in society that's making lots of money. Apparently, it could be an urban myth.
Sorry?
Apparently it could be an urban myth, but I've heard that the man who invented microwaves refuses to stand in the same room as one. That could be an urban myth though.
They did say that about televisions, didn't they, when they first came in?
Well, I've got a friend who's electrosensitive and she can't sit in front of a TV.
Oh, right.
So it's obviously affecting us on some level. If she's sensitive to it, it's obviously affecting us, yeah? We've retired our TV. Yeah. Okay, so smart meters. Smart meters and sleeping with the Wi-Fi on and phone decks. They're all giving out signals, electromagnetic signals. And the thing about it is when you sleep, your body's making antioxidants to protect us against cancer. It's interrupting that process and it's blocking us making a very powerful antioxidant. I can't remember the name of it, but it blocks that powerful antioxidant that protects us against cancer. So when we're sleeping with the Wi-Fi on, and the problem with smart meters, they never ever switch off. They're on 24/7. And on top of that is that they're delivering information to the main centre, and that information is being used for marketing purposes. So they're building a marketing profile about us.
That's the smartphone they've done as well.
Yes, all the same.
It does, much.
Yes, yeah. Switch it off at night.
If you're in a different room from your Wi-Fi, I wonder whether that's still not good.
Still not great. Depends how thick your walls are and how industrial your bricks are, but still not great. But it's sleeping with it that's the worst part of it. Yeah, because that's when your body's resting, it's detoxing, it's making antioxidants, and it's interfering with all of that, you know? It's not nice. It's really not nice. My neighbours have just had a smart meter put in right next to my front door, so they're such a nice family, but it's all, yeah. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it at all. But anyway. Endocrine disruptors, plastics, BPA, fluoride. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. It harms your brain apparently. It's in standard toothpastes. The thing about a lot of these things I'm telling you, you're saying, oh, well, why is it allowed? And the thing is, they've been around for a long time. They've made an awful lot of money for the manufacturers. The manufacturers aren't going to suddenly turn around and just kind of back down without a fight, you know? The thing I told you about heavy metals is that was in a peer-reviewed journal, and then they were pressured by a vaccine company and a Teflon pan company and a Bako foil company to remove that article, and they had to remove it. So, you know, and the same with the EMF thing. You know, fluoride and BPA, which is this bisphenol, I can never pronounce it, but it's it's just plastic, it's synthetic plastic, and they're all endocrine disruptors. They're all getting kind of interrupt your hormones and things like that. So it's not great if you've got hot tea in it, or you know, it's all kind of leaching into it. Even kind of plastic bottles with water in sitting in the sun, leaching all the plastics into the water. That's not great either. You know, putting hot food into a tub, that's got BPA in it. You can get BPA-free ones though, it's kind of the trend now. And also obviously agricultural herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, pesticides all contaminate soil, water and affects wildlife, and they upset our endocrine system. So they're all contributory factors. I'm not saying it's any one thing. And as I did say that, I don't know why that's in there. Oh yeah, rapeseed. Rapeseed oil, which you find in a lot of modern foods these days, I'm afraid it's in an awful lot of stuff. and it's a toxin. It's got toxins in it. It has toxins in it. It's even in baby formula. Unfortunately, I failed to find a baby formula without it so far. I've heard that somebody told me that they take that toxin out of it, but I haven't seen any evidence either way. So I personally steer clear of it if I can. If I can possibly avoid it, then I will. But most restaurants will be cooking in this, by the way, and most takeaways. And they'll be cooking in it over and over and over again if they're a takeaway. Because it's cheap and abundant, and we grow it in this country, so it's contributing to the economy. And for financial reasons, they're not going to take it out of the human diet. And stable fats. Stable fats are fats that are stable, and they're saturated, which means that their bonds, their chains are closed. They're closed at each end, so heat, light, and oxygen doesn't get in and corrupt it that easily. It's quite stable, doesn't get corrupted, and you can get quite high smoking points with them. Not that if it starts to smoke, you've burnt it. It's turned toxic. So don't smoke your oils, please. Don't put it up to really high temperatures. Smoke the house out and the fire alarm going off. Butter, ghee, tallow, and suet from beef and lamb, preferably grass-fed. Anybody wants a reference for that? I actually know. Jess and I know a pig farmer who does that, grass-fed. He's getting me some next week. I know, and the beef tallow as well. But lard from pigs is apparently one of the highest forms of vitamin D. Did you know that?
Sorry, what did you say?
Lard.
Lard.
Yeah. So there you go. That's quite a shocker, isn't it? Chicken, goose and duck fat, that's what the Thais and the Chinese traditionally have been cooking in for millennia. Pork fat, duck fat, goose, and lard. Lard is pork fat. So they've all been cooking those kinds of fats for decades. And then the Caribbean community, coconut, palm kernels. I don't agree with palm kernel for the environmental issues, but if you can get one that's sustainable, that's been endorsed by David Attenborough, there are a few. I think one's called Acoma. You can get that online, and it's very, very rich in vitamin E, and it's bright red. It's rich in antioxidants. But it tastes kind of weird. So you've got to be kind of. Yeah, if anyone has tried palm oil, it's not the greatest of tastes. But it's an awful lot of biscuits. So if you can eat a biscuit, then you probably don't think it's that bad. But it's not good for the environment at all. But yeah, the sustainable ones that are fair traded, that are supporting local communities, and they're respecting their environment, and orangutans can thrive, then yeah, go for it. So these are the suggested diets that have been shown to potentially help. Paleo and keto have been shown to be the most effective, the best. I would say start with a keto. If you want to do plant-based initially to detox, you can do that, but no more than 3 months, ideally 30 days, to just get to kind of detoxify if you've got some heavy metal that you want to get out. And then I would say you could do a keto, but keto is not sustainable long term. It's quite a tricky one to do consistently, because it's just not got a lot of, it's just mainly fat. It's a lot of fat, and that's brilliant for building up your nervous system and building up your brain, but long term you might just want to kind of plateau on paleo. Mediterranean, yes, but that's more if you've got metabolic syndrome, and also you've got to forget about all the pita breads and all the other things that are in it that aren't so great. So yeah, those are just the theories. And these are...
Can you go back to rapeseed oil?
Rapeseed oil, I can go back to rapeseed oil. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
yes.
Yeah, if you go over one more time.
Oh, I'm going around one more time. Sorry guys, I'm really sorry about it. Any questions about rapeseed oil? Rapeseed oil is it's not great. It's got a toxin in it called uric acid, can never pronounce it. And that toxin attacks your central nervous system. It's been linked to Alzheimer's, and it's just not healthy. It's not heart healthy. It's not good for your brain, not good for your nervous system. Unfortunately, it's in too many things, and because it supports the environment.
In Brazil, they run a lot of their cars on rapeseed oil, so is it unhealthy with what is kicking?
I should say so. The problem with eating meat is if it's not grass-fed and they're feeding it on grains that they're not designed to eat, then it's going to be inflammatory. It's going to be more higher in omega-6, inflammatory omega-6.
Car and kicking out the exhaust fumes,
Yeah. As an eco oil, I can't imagine it would be great. No, but I'm not. That's not my area of expertise. Yeah, someone to get in to talk. Yeah, an eco in scientist. There is an urban myth that they've taken that uric acid out of the food, out of the actual oil, but I've seen no evidence of it either way. But unfortunately, it's in a lot of Bailey formulas, and a lot of breads, and a lot of breaded fish, and a lot of just processed food generally. It's if you go into the supermarket and look at all the food, it's in everywhere. It's in all the ingredients everywhere. I walk around the supermarket going, looking at it and just throwing it back on the shelf in disgust, you know. So yes, rapeseed oil is not great. I'm not a fan of it. So stable fats, we've been cooking in stable fats millennia, and all of the ancient cultures have all traditionally cooked in stable fats. The Thais always traditionally cooked in, I think it's duck fat or pig fat, and so did the Chinese, and the Caribbeans cook in things like coconut and palm oil. Palm oil is not great for the environment. I don't recommend it, especially for orangutans, but you can actually go online and find environmentally friendly and sustainable palm oils, because they're very rich in vitamin E and rich in antioxidants, but they just taste pretty weird, some of them. For some people find them quite weird tasting. And I would say that even in this country, I think we cooked in was it goose fat? I think goose fat's quite a traditional one, isn't it? Yeah, if you think about what was actually went on, I think it was Radio 2 or Radio 3 as a phone-in, because they were talking about long forgotten foods that we don't use at Christmas anymore. And I rang them and said, who cooks their potatoes in goose fat anymore? I said, I still do. My mum does. Why doesn't anyone do it? You know, it's a stable fat, and you know, there's no studies to support it, and it got a huge ring in. Everybody was ringing, you know, yeah, caused a big discussion. But yeah, we've traditionally been cooking goose fat in this country for a long time. Okay, so these are suggested diets. I would say plant-based for detoxification for a limited amount of time. Some people find that they feel quite tired after about 3 months on a plant-based diet. Not everybody. Men are better at it than women because they've got more iron stores, but women find that they can feel quite tired. So detoxification purposes, maybe 30 days on a plant-based, you want to get rid of heavy metals and stuff, and then switch on to a keto for a bit, see how long you can sustain that. Because it's quite high in fat, it's quite a tough one to stick to. And then paleo is a little bit better, a little bit easier to kind of plateau on, and I recommend paleo as a long-term thing. Mediterranean, only if you don't eat the flatbreads. Okay, and here is the suggested research that I've done myself, and I'm sure there's loads more, but I don't want to bombard you with it all. And this is Dr. Perlmutter's book, Grain Brain, and if you want to read more about what I've spoken about, he has it all in there. But you can go on YouTube and see loads of interviews with him. And he's been using antioxidants to inject people with Parkinson's, and they've gone from being shaky and rigid to just getting up and walking naturally down the corridor. So he's doing a lot of work with people with Parkinson's. And Dr. Sarah Myhill, she's doing amazing stuff with people with neurodegenerative problems and mitochondrial problems. She even works with people with long COVID and chronic fatigue as well. So she doesn't just specialise just in neurodegeneration, but she's an expert in neurodegeneration. She is amazing. I highly recommend her. And Lucille Leader is the leading expert, or one of the leading experts in this country, in the UK, on Parkinson's. And you can go on her website and get loads of resources for your Parkinson's. And I do recommend Colin Potter, fightparkinsonsnow.org, because he's he's resolved his, he says he still has Parkinson's, but he doesn't have any of the symptoms. So curing maybe not the right word, but he's resolved his symptoms. So I think that's fair. He has a good quality of life, and he can do all the things. He's in his 60s, I believe. He can do all the things that he thought he couldn't do. He can now pick up his grandchildren, he can go for walks, he can do all the things that he couldn't do before. So he says he's resolved all of his symptoms by following Dr. Perlmutter's diet. So, and as I said, he's not the only one. Other people have done it. But yes, this is the route that I followed, that I've looked at, and I think this is a kind of like a comprehensive for me. Don't go reading hundreds of books. These are the people. These are the leaders in it. These are the people that know their stuff. They really are, trailblazing in this area, and they are reversing people's symptoms. So yeah, these are the guys. That's a great book, and he does have. He's got a recipe book, but I think. Go online and get some stuff. Just go online and just say paleo or keto diets. So thank you very much for listening, and that was my talk, and these are my contact emails or my websites. I want to tell you a little bit about my community interest company that I'm in the process of setting up. I have spoken to some nutritional therapists up in Scotland and in Wales, and they're going to deliver this talk to Parkinson's groups all around the UK for me. And Dr. Ridge has been great in giving me an endorsement for my website, and I'm going to go for funding. And once I've got that funding, we can then deliver it out all over the UK. So far I've spoken to a few people, and hopefully we will get this talk delivered to all the Parkinson's. I have delivered this talk to a couple of Parkinson's groups over in Epping and in Enfield as well. And yeah, I feel that the community need to know about it. They need to know the latest research. It's not on the organisation's websites for some strange reason. They're not up to date with the research. So my community interest company is called True Health Talks. So thank you very much for coming. And if you've got any questions, let me know.
Would you like a few questions, or should we have a break?
I don't mind. What would you like? Shall we have a break and then have some questions?
So if somebody's been just diagnosed with Parkinson's or showing early signs, typically how long could it take with this kind of regime diet for them to start reversing the signs?
I think if it's really early, I think it could be. It's hard to know because everybody's individual, and it also depends on their compliancy, doesn't it? But if you get it early, I think it's a much. The journey isn't as hard and it's not as long. I think it could be a lot quicker. Colin Potter took about a year to get it all resolved, and he was quite progressed.
Right. Okay.
So I think someone early sign could really maybe nip it in the bud within maybe 3 to 6 months. I mean, if a therapist is treating somebody, they give it 3 to 6 months anyway. That is just standard. So I would say 6 months perhaps, but it's very hard to know. I couldn't personally predict that. But I would say, speculatively, if you've got a client who's 100% compliant, which is pretty much a miracle these days, and they're really willing to take on all of the suggestions, then they're going to definitely have a better outcome. It stands to reason, and quicker, faster.
And you were saying that medication can be weaned off if you have that sort of degree of compliance. Would you say it's a really good idea to let the doctor who's prescribing know what's going on? Because
yes, of course.
I don't understand. You might be starting to get side effects.
Well, if you watch the Colin Potter video interview, I can say if anybody emails me for the PowerPoint, I can send you along the interview as well. He talks about that, about what he does and how he weans himself off it, and how he basically said that the drugs weren't really curing him. They were just kind of managing symptoms.
Sure.
And he noticed that as he started feeling better and better on the diet and the supplements, he found he needed the medication less and less.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of really just monitoring how he felt and talking with the doctor.
Sort of be in contact, so
of course it is.
Therapy really is working hand in hand with
of course
the
it is.
side if there's prescribed medication.
I'm sure he must have worked with his doctor about that. Yes.
You didn't mention it, but a lot of people used to have amalgam fillings.
Yeah, amalgam fillings. Yes, you're right. I didn't mention that. Yeah, it could be a key thing. You're right. Yeah.
Some people say take them out, and other people say if you disturb them, you'll create problems.
There are dentists who specialise in taking them out, and you need the sea greens and chlorella to detoxify yourself from that. I did have a gentleman come to me, and he'd gone to get all of his mercury fillings taken out, and I think he went somewhere like this greens diet, you know, and I put him on lots of chlorella and sea greens, and I even got him on lots of coriander, which is supposed to be really good. And it resolved it for him eventually, but he was really suffering. Yeah, and that was just to do not having his fillings taken out properly. It's mad, isn't it, when you think about it? Yeah.
Do you think chelating agents are essential when doing a complete swap over?
Yeah, I should say so. Yeah, yeah. All chelating agents are going to be helpful in terms of just getting rid of anything that's hanging around. We're all going to have bits and pieces hanging around, aren't we? You know, we're not all living on a beautiful island off of our own homegrown food, and there's no traffic or anything. But we're definitely going to be impacted. We're all impacted somehow or another. So yeah.
When you mentioned the Mediterranean diet, there's been quite a lot of emphasis on the rich polyphenol-containing olive oil.
That's right. Yeah, and I did. A gentleman said to me, you didn't mention over there about the antioxidants. Obviously, we all know about antioxidants and how important they are, and how protective they are against oxidation, oxidative stress. And I would say that a Mediterranean diet is really great if you have metabolic syndrome, or you're somewhere in that realm. Then you have a higher chance of leading on to neurodegenerative problems. It's a fact. It's a statistical fact and a scientific fact. So a Mediterranean diet can be really good at help dampening down the problems with oxidation, oxidative stress and inflammation. So yes, all the elements of the Mediterranean diet, and lots of lovely things like blueberries and raspberries, berries in particular are really good. Things that are very rich in antioxidants. And yeah, obviously that was quite a comprehensive delivery, but I could have probably put more about antioxidants in there, because antioxidants are important for sure.
I guess it's Dr. Sarah Brewer, I think, if you know Sarah Brewer.
I've heard of her, yeah.
She's just pushed Ancient Origins, I think it's called, olive oil, which is, yes. And the theory was that it was meant to be particularly good if the olive trees had grown on areas that have been volcanic.
That makes sense. Yeah, the volcanic ash. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's supposed to be good at feeding the soil and nourishing the soil. So that sounds good, actually. Yeah, I'd be quite interested.
Start growing in Iceland, shouldn't it? Start growing them in Iceland.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, they used to have trees for 100 years ago.
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me a lot at all.
They did have trees.
Yeah.
I've got any now. I apologise again because I came late, so I might ask the question unrelated, but I think I picked up you were talking about meat diets as well. Were you talking about
the paleo diet? Yeah.
What is that for you?
That's the Stone Age diet. It's a Stone Age diet. So the Stone Age man was a hunter-gatherer, was mainly just eating wild meat and vegetables, whatever you can pick up. Right. So it's pretty much a grain-free diet. Yes. There's no seed oils in it. Nothing kind of modern or no functional foods in it at all. But you're still advocating meat is good for the gut. So I thought the human body is not made to digest meat, or am I wrong in that? Well, you can ask my ancestors. You get in a time machine and go and ask my ancestors. No, you should know. I would say that we don't have a natural digestive system today. It's a strain for our digestive system to digest meat. I've seen no evidence of that.
I wouldn't agree with that necessarily.
I don't know.
My own particular interest, which Charlotte knows, is the blood type diet.
Yeah. Which is you talking about, yeah.
And Dr. Adamo, the naturopath, treated the president of the American Vegan Society, who was not very well, had various health problems, and he said he should be eating meat. He obviously was no. And so he tried eating meat and never came off it. Yeah. He was so well.
No, I mean, I'm really asking the question because I've heard it suggested and I don't know the answer, that's why I'm asking the question.
Well,
if you're a group O, you've got to have meat, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. What we were talking about out there, wasn't it?
I would say that our digestive systems were not designed to eat grass. Like a cow.
I haven't done that lately, but
you'd be surprised how many people buy how many people buy wheatgrass or barley grass,
see, yeah.
and it hasn't been juiced. It's just the whole thing with all the grass fibre and the cellulose. And you need eight stomachs to digest that, you know.
Cow, yeah.
So that your digestive system wasn't designed to eat grass. Meat, it was, yeah.
What else is our digestive not designed to eat then that we do?
Most of the stuff that we eat in the supermarket.
Well,
So what I didn't mention is 80% of food that are in supermarkets at the moment didn't exist 100 years ago. And that's a fact. It's all functional. A lot of it is synthetic. It's just not real food. It's not whole grain. It's not whole food.
so
It's
a lot
real.
of stuff's come from the other side of the world and take ages to get
There
it.
is that. Yeah, that's right.
Bananas have been frozen solid before they get it.
That's right. That's why it's best to just go to your local farm shop and just buy it. It's just been picked, literally. It's going to be so much more helpful. It is a false economy going and buying something really cheap in the supermarket if it's been sitting on the shelf for 5 weeks or however long it sits. I don't know what the shelf
And the
date
other
is.
thing, I didn't hear that you mentioned eggs, and I'm a great
Yes.
eggs advocate. But again, you get organic eggs, you get barn eggs, you get fresh free. I tend to buy free range because I'm led to believe they're the best you can get other than organic. Where are we on eggs in terms of the situation with eggs?
Well, organic is supposed to be the best for omega-3s, higher for omega-3. But free range is better than not,
Okay,
definitely.
right.
Yeah, free range. That's the minimum you want to be looking at.
Thank you.
Yeah, but if you can afford organic, then stretch to organic.
Free range just because it's the
Yeah, if you can afford organic, then go for it. And if you can't, if your budget doesn't quite stretch, you've got to just kind of level it out and go, well, I'd rather spend my money on organic carrots and organic lettuce, and I'd rather get some grass-fed meat.
Is it true carrots used to be purple?
Yes. Yeah.
They bred them to be.
I have eaten purple carrots, and
They're
they're
better for you than the ones we get
well,
now?
anthocyanins are antioxidants, and anthocyanins are the purple pigmentation that you get in things like beetroots, and berries, blueberries, grapes.
Purple sweet potato.
That's right, purple sweet potatoes, which I particularly love. You can even get purple potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which are great. Anything
So the
purple.
is the indication.
Now, this is one for the ladies. Purple is really blood building, and it's yin nourishing. And as we get older, our yin starts to deplete. So eating dark purple foods, fruits and veg, is really good for us. Really good for us.
Got some in the fridge.
Yeah. So yeah, seek out purple fruit and veg. Seek it out. Pomegranates are great. Yeah, really great. They're lovely.
Beetroot's good.
Beetroot's really great. Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah, you can get purple sprouting broccoli, things like that. Yeah, anything that's purple. It's a lovely, gorgeous antioxidant. Blueberries are great. They're known as anti-aging antioxidants. Yeah, so yin building purple fruits and veg, definitely.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, thank you for that.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
I love beetroots. I love roasting them in the oven
Just as
and
much as a snack when I walk in the door.
yeah, no, they're great. They're great. Beetroots are great. You can have them in so many different ways. I like to roast the whole one and then stuff it with thyme and then put goat's cheese on top.
So you can just have beetroot mixed with onions. Onions are good for you as well, aren't they?
What's good for you?
Beetroot and onion.
Yeah, what? Yeah, onions can. Yeah, they can feed your good bacteria and they're good for boosting your immune system. Red onions are great. I like all kinds of onions.
I sometimes have 2 big slices of beetroot with raw onion in between.
Wow, that's very brave. I'm not into raw onion personally.
That's when I come in at night, not when I'm going out.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to the eggs.
Yes.
I heard recently, in terms of like eating the actual membrane, just right at the side of the shell is helpful for, is it bone health or?
Yeah, it's supposed to be rich in calcium. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Okay.
It's supposed to be. Yeah, but you can. Well, yeah. It's a.
Probably go the other way.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's crushing up eggshells. It's. Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. It's good for the earth though. You can feed your plants with it.
And the yolk.
And the yolk, the egg yolk.
Good to eat.
Yes,
Some people relate
really good
to
for your brain because it's got choline in it.
cholesterol.
Well, some people do associate it with cholesterol, but your body makes its own cholesterol. It's not coming from foods like that. That is important. And let's not forget that your brain is mainly fat and cholesterol. Okay, so if you want to protect your brain from degeneration, from shrinking, from Alzheimer's, dementia, you want to be thinking about getting more saturated, more fat-rich foods, like across the board, essential fatty acids, monounsaturated and and saturated fats in your diet, and then bringing in things like choline, which supports brain, and cholesterol, which supports the brain. So yeah.
So statins aren't really.
I'm personally not a fan. I don't see it because it's not the cholesterol that causes the trigger. You have to, if you've got cholesterol in your body, why would your body manufacture something that was bad for it? That's the first question. And secondly, if you've got cholesterol there in the arteries, it's there for a reason. It's there because you've got inflammation, you've got damage. It's trying to repair the damage. It just happens to be on the scene of the crime when the heart attack happens. It's not the cause of it. You can have high cholesterol, medium or low, and you can still have a heart attack.
So why do the GPs rush to prescribe statins all the time?
I believe they get a...
Well, when you do a cardiovascular risk assessment based on a computer algorithm, pretty well the only thing you can change is the cholesterol. Because the other things, I mean, getting people to lose weight is very, very hard.
Not in this country, we're so obese now.
The other factors, but to get a quick win, if you like, lowering the cholesterol.
Quick fix.
Well, it's a quick reduction in the risk index, which obviously is linked to rewards.
So the
financial rewards. You see, GPs are.
What you're saying is the next blood test will bring it down.
What I'm saying is that GPs are targeted by the government policy, and a lot of the GP income is linked to achieving various targets.
Sorry, that's gone off track from what you're talking about. Sorry. But I'm intrigued because it is the first thing they rush to do, isn't it? Prescribe statins. Straight away, certainly for men.
The risk factors are such that everyone over 50, according to that algorithm, is going to benefit from having a statin. That's the
But that conflicts with what you're saying to a certain extent, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just throwing it out there as devil's advocate, because I mean, I do all this on the radio. We've been talking about statins. That we did a thing on the BBC World Service recently. Well, they've done new research and they found that statins are better for you than they thought they were.
Well, who funded that research?
Well, again, that's the question.
Well, look up Dr. Asim Malhotra, who's a cardiologist. He has Dr. Asim Malhotra, and he is obviously he's a heart surgeon. He's a cardiologist. He has a lot to say about it, and so does Dr. Malcolm McKendrick as well.
He's a little bit grieving still, though, isn't he?
Well, that's about something else, though. That's something else about his father, about around the COVID thing. That's not about the statins. He's always been against statins for a while now.
Statins have always been controversial. They're not a controversial thing.
Yeah. And they can cause muscle wastage, and they are blocking CoQ10. And there has a study's come out recently that if you take them long term, you've got a high chance of having a heart attack. Yeah. So you have to look at across the board.
No, I'm intrigued by it because I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form. I just soak up the information.
Oh, I'm just. Yeah.
It's interesting.
There are also non-statin anti-cholesterol drugs like ezetimibe.
Yeah.
Which is not.
But what's wrong with
ezetimibe? Ezetimibe.
Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
I'll get the spelling of you.
So if you don't like to take statins.
If you're worried about your cholesterol level, worry more about your inflammation and your oxidation. Get those down. And then the cholesterol should not be a concern. That's what science on my side of the fence is saying.
So if you have children, I don't know if you've got children, that's a personal question.
No.
But if you had children, how would you get young children who want pizzas and everything else like that to eat sort of stuff like that? Must be very.
Well, you have to bring them up from a very young age on a really good diet. You have to train their palates. If you train their palates in the right way, then they won't be reaching for the...
Just getting kids to eat greens is a try itself, isn't it?
It can be, but you can dress them up in a nice way. You can make... I think
it does start with the youth, doesn't it, all of this sort of stuff?
Yeah, 100% it does, yeah. I make a sauce, a honey and white miso and mirin sauce, which I drizzle over steamed green veg. It makes all green veg taste absolutely delicious if you're not a pro green vegger, if you find it hard to stomach. And miso is really good for your gut as well. But yeah, you can mix it, and kids like things like that.
Right.
Do you think it might make a difference with preconceptual changes, like the Foresight organisation were getting people to follow protocols, for months before getting
definitely.
trying to get pregnant.
Well,
so if a mother especially is eating that sort of diet before conception,
That's right. Yeah.
then and during pregnancy, then they're going to be exposing the infant to all the right foods, and it might be just what they expect.
Well, getting it from a mother's bloodstream.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So they get their food.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yes. My mother was going through a heat wave. She had me, and she was just jumping in every corner shop and getting an ice cream.
So that's why you like ice cream, is what you're saying?
I don't eat ice cream, no, but you know, I did used to like sweets a lot when I was a kid, definitely.
Right.
But then what kid doesn't?
Well, that's the point I was saying. I mean, the kids are indoctrinated by their peer pressures at school and everything else.
Yeah, they are.
What is the thing with anything, with clothes, shoes,
really,
trainers, food?
It's a tough call, but it's down to the parents.
Now and everything else, doesn't it? So.
It's down to the parents. The parents have to train them, and often what I see, and it may sound judgmental, but I'm just telling you the facts. I often see very, very overweight parents passing their addictions on to their children. And I've seen them on the bus, and they've got a kid in a pram, and they're feeding them a giant donut covered in sugar and a fizzy pop.
There's just a statistic last week, wasn't there? Since COVID, 80% of children are now obese.
57.
80%.
80%.
46 right here in Enfield.
Yeah, that's right. And this is one of the worst boroughs for it.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's one of the worst. This and Haggerston, I believe. I think it's the worst in the UK, at least, and at most, it's probably the worst in Europe.
Haggerston would be famous for something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, did they give a reason for that? Why they think that is?
Well, it could be to do with economic. I don't know. Economics. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Enfield is the largest borough in London, but I mean that's
culture.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. But yeah, that's what I was asked about the children with the statistic that came out recently.
Yeah.
The parents are not doing their job, are they?
Well, it's because the parents aren't doing it on
It's
themselves.
cheap. Right, I took my nieces to McDonald's. You can eat cheaply there. That crap food is so cheap.
Well, having said that, McDonald's never fell foul of the meat scare, did they? Their meat was given a complete green bill of health, along with Iceland. The only two outlets who were given a clean bill of health with their meat in the meat crisis.
Oh, what, the horse meat crisis, you mean? Yes, there you go then.
Complete clean bill of health.
Interesting, isn't it?
So you can go on about all other fancy meats from fancy places, but they had a complete clean bill of health, as did Burger King.
But great big wheat sort of buns and loads of sugar.
Yeah, look, if you eat that every day of the week, yes, but if you have it once a week, no problem, in my opinion. That's just the way I am. You know?
Well, I think the once a week no problem thing doesn't really hold up when you've got a lady ringing you up and she's having her appendix is rupturing because she eats a takeaway every single. She said I only have the occasional takeaway. I said, how often do that? She says once a week. And she's got her every single day for a year.
What takeaway?
Once a week, every single day for a year is, 50 weeks?
Yeah.
She her appendix exploded off the back of that. That is enough once a week.
So we should ban all delivery drivers then.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, it adds up. It adds up,
Doesn't that go along with the line you look at other things like, are they exercising, are they doing any aerobics or anything like that? And loads of people eat takeaway, sit on their sofa and do bugger all else. So.
It doesn't matter because it's not feeding your mitochondria anyway. If you're eating toxic oils, it is your energy power pack that's in every single cell in your body. If you're eating toxic oils that are damaging and destroying your mitochondria, you're eating sugar that's completely destroying your mitochondria, it doesn't matter how much exercise you do, your mitochondria is still being damaged. You can't work off stuff like that.
The other thing I find very strange is, I'm old enough to remember when they used to say margarine was better for you than butter.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
They've now gone round the other way and say butter's better for you than margarine. They used to say decaffeinated coffee is better for you than coffee. They've now found decaffeinated coffee's got a link with cancer. They're now saying coffee's better for you than decaffeinated. So there's a contradiction in terms going on all the time, isn't there?
Well, of course there is, but common sense tells you, well, what did we eat before they started messing around with everything 100 years ago? Just look at that, go back to that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with it.
Yeah.
Knowledge goes forward, and we used to say in medicine that there was a half-life of a medical fact, it might be 10 years, and then someone's disproved it and the theory has moved on to something different, or even the complete opposite.
So with genetically modified food that's coming on down the line fast now, especially if we do a trade deal with America, where are we on that?
Maize, GM, corn's a big issue.
Yeah.
Corn is a big issue.
That's one of the
corn products, and it gets hidden in a lot of things. Maize flour and corn, look out for it. It gets hidden in a lot of things, and it could be genetically modified.
Yeah. Well, it's banned in this country at the moment, isn't it? But
It's in mayonnaise and all these things.
Yeah, well, mayonnaise is mainly made from rapeseed oil, so I wouldn't touch the mayonnaise you buy in the supermarkets anyway. The only really good ones are the hunter and gatherers you can buy from the olive oil based. He does an avocado oil based and olive oil based one, and they're from Village Whole Food Store in Enfield. So.
Is that what it's called, Hunter and Gatherers?
Hunter and Gatherers. I buy it. I have to order a tray of it because she complains that no one else buys it when she orders it in for me. So I have to order a tray of 6 of them.
Has it got a long day on it in terms of...
I eat it though. It's great. I mean, you know...
How does it differentiate in terms of percentage?
You have to ask Jill. I think it's about a £5 a pot.
As opposed to £2 or £3 for a normal one?
Yeah. But it's worth it for your health, isn't it?
No. I'm not disagreeing with that. I just wanted to know roughly what the difference is.
It lasts, you know. I mean, I keep it in my fridge and in my cupboard, and throughout the winter I just keep it in a box outside where it's nice and cold, and it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I just go through it. That's it.
Apart from stevia, any other healthy
Sweeteners? Yes, there are. Stevia is kind of considered to be the best because it doesn't require your body to produce any insulin to place anything from it. All the other sweeteners have got something, but if you're using something like coconut palm sugar, it's got fructose in it, so it's going to go via your liver, and maple syrup and honey, but at least honey's got some minerals in it if it's raw. So you should always stick with raw honey if you're going to be eating honey. Don't go with pasteurised honey. It will tell you if it's raw on it. Yeah?
Think about the stevia, you've got to get just the pure stevia powder as well, because if you get these little poppers, you know, tablets, they're cut with other things as well.
There are.
For you.
It's true, it's very true.
So if you see wild honey, you've got to really see what's the ingredients.
Yeah, raw. You want it to be raw. You're more likely to get raw honey in the health food stores.
Yeah, there's one more recent one, erythritol.
Erythritol, yes, that's been connected to heart attacks. Sorry, I'm afraid. Yes, I was giving a talk once, and I did out that. This woman at the front, she's talking about it, and she got really upset. Yeah. She felt that I'd undermined her because she was making changes, and that was her little change. Yeah, she got really upset.
Xylitol's not good or what?
Erythritol.
Yeah, I know, but what about xylitol?
It's derived from plants, from birch trees. It's a kind of plant alcohol. It's all right occasionally. I don't know enough about it. Yeah, I think it's all right occasionally. My mum uses it in cooking sometimes. I don't think it's as bad as erythritol, for sure. Nowhere near. Sometimes if you're making a trifle and you want it sugar-free, that's the only thing that will do. My mum makes some mean sugar-free trifles. So. Yeah, really good.
And again, I don't know if this was mentioned before I came in, but I ate a lot of soya vegetarian products. What's soya? Is that
soya is full of toxins. So no, it blocks iodine to the thyroid. It's a estrogen mimic. And particularly bad. It's all right if they're fermented. Thai Fun do a fermented soya.
A lot of Linda McCartney's soya, and I buy a lot.
No, well, look at Linda McCartney. She died of cancer, didn't she?
Yeah, but Paul McCartney actually shut the factory down and completely detoxified it from top to bottom, didn't he? And because he still owns the company.
Well, they still use a lot of rapeseed oil.
I don't know. I mean, so
I don't think he understands food fully. So, yeah, I don't know. I personally wouldn't eat a lot of soya.
Right. Okay. Fine.
It's all right every now and again, but particularly not great for men.
Oh. Well, I'm done then. I'll stagger out of it then.
If you flip it, what's good for men?
Women.
Things that are gonna.
Yes.
Well, that's a big question, really. It depends. Well, it just depends what point in your life you're going through. You know, if you're thinking
Especially
about
when it comes to ED.
Oh yes, right. Well, definitely don't eat raw spinach.
Raw spinach.
Raw spinach. You need things like vitamin C and rose hip that are really good for smoothing the whole vascular system. You need to be addressing your vascular system. So don't take out the smoking and the drinking, and just get lots of really beautiful vascular nourishing things like rose hips and vitamin C and fish oils and things like that. Yeah, really, really good. And don't eat raw spinach.
My GP said to me, I was joking years ago, you can live on baked beans on toasted granary bread.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Do you remember when GPs?
No.
Do you remember when GPs used to do adverts advertising how great smoking was? Do you not remember that?
No.
Does anyone remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there you go then. Do you remember? They would endorse certain packets of cigarettes. I'm a GP and these are really great for you. Yeah.
So that's a fallacy, is it, what you said to me?
People thought it was good for your nerves.
That's right. There you go then. There you go. I'm not saying don't trust GPs per
No,
se. I'm just
no.
saying on matters like that, maybe make your up.
Going about this and going about what is good to eat. He said, oh, you can live on baked beans on toasted granary
Well, that
bread.
says it all, doesn't it? Really.
Eh?
Don't go to a GP to get a really great diagnosis, to get really great support, you
choose
know,
the fact one
but
day.
not maybe not for nutrition advice, maybe your dietary advice. You know that people might be better placed with that.
Consider myself totally administered.
What you're saying, having sort of gone through the NHS system of training, working in hospitals where you're running around like an absolute lunatic, you had a feast with baked beans on toast.
Yes.
That's about the only thing you had time at.
It's
If you
so
had
true.
that, you're a happy man, you know.
Very true. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd imagine that's probably exactly the case. Yeah.
I'll put a couple of eggs on top as well.
Lovely. Great.
Slightly different
Okay.
tack.
Yes.
What are your ideas on dysbiosis being investigated by the, the genetic analysis? You know, we send off an analysis of your stool, and you get a complete analysis of what organisms
tests
are
are
there,
good.
and then you have a bespoke supplement
Yep.
made for you. Do you think that's good?
Yeah.
Money-making.
I don't know about the bespoke supplement, but I know that having tests are key, especially if you want to look inside somebody's body and find out what's going on, and so look at what's going on in their gut. So definitely tests for sure. I don't know about that particular.
This was
supplement.
advertised at one of the integrative health conventions online. Flore, that's the name of it.
Yeah. You can get tests, and it will tell you all the bacteria that you've got and all the bacteria that you're missing. That's got to be beneficial.
The ones that are potentially harmful, pathogenic.
Yeah,
they
pathogenic.
sort of
Yeah.
Give you a
Yeah.
mix to counteract that.
Yeah, but it's sometimes, I had a local little boy with quite severe eczema, and he had it for a long time, and it was impacting his self-confidence. And at first, when you see eczema, you might think, oh, maybe he's allergic to a food, or something like that, dairy, that sort of thing, as we always do. As it turned out, it's a really interesting story. I looked at his blood tests from the doctor, and he had a high amount of eosinophils, and that suggested that it might be something going on in there. So we had another test done, a private test done, and he had parasites that he'd got from going, when he went to Georgia with his mum, who's from Georgia. He played in the municipal fountain in the middle of the village. It was known for having parasites, and he was playing underneath it, and he brought it back, and that's what triggered all of his skin problems. But it wasn't picked up at the hospital. They just gave him some, I don't know, antibiotics or something to try and calm it down. And he's just been on a strict diet for a long time now. But it has improved significantly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's a local boy. Yeah. So there you go.
Right.
Sometimes you'd be surprised what it is. So it's good. It's worth getting those tests.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Yes.
Can I, talking about the brain, if someone's got mild brain damage, would any of these sorts of things be an advantage to that?
Well, accident or degradation.
Do you mean a stroke? No. It's just slower.
Cognitive decline.
Would you call it decline? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's after a brain tumour, so it's...
Yeah, so things like lion's mane would be really helpful at rebuilding it, and ashwagandha and brahmi is particularly good as an Ayurvedic herb, and also spirulina is supposed to be good.
Sorry, spirulina.
Lion's mane, mushrooms.
Yeah.
Lion's mane, brahmi is an Ayurvedic herb, HMI, Brahmi. And also that the nano gold over there, that would be really good. That passes up through the blood-brain barrier. It's elemental, it's not even a tablet. It's completely elemental. Has everybody had an apple cider vinegar? Generously donated by Willies. If you haven't had one, then do go and grab one.
Thank you, sure.
That will improve your gut
Sorry,
health.
what is this? Sorry, I missed
It's an apple cider vinegar. It's a fermented product.
What do you use it for?
You can either make beautiful salad dressings with it, really lovely salad dressings, and you can also put it in water in the morning and drink it before you have your first meal.
What's the benefit of it?
Boosts your immune system, helps balance out your gut, helps with gut dysbiosis, balances blood sugar levels. Willies is great, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, Willie's pleasure. Thank Fred Barton at Willie's. Yeah. It's good stuff, isn't it? He's very generously sponsored my talks. So yeah.
Thank you very much. That
yeah.
was very informative.
Yeah, thank you. Okay guys, thank you so much.